excited to talk to everybody today in the capacity of a productivity coach and someone who's been in the real estate and mortgage businesses for almost 40 years. We usually start broadcasting at 10:02, which I think because of the technology hiccup, we lost a couple minutes, but I'll move a little quicker. You don't have to do this right now, but jot yourself down a note. You might want to use ChatGPT or Google. And I want you to jot down a couple of questions that are going to really build value for you as a mortgage professional as it relates to your real estate referral partners. Okay. So specifically what we're going to be talking about today is how can we, as mortgage bankers, provide an even greater level of camaraderie and partnership with our residential real estate professionals within the context of a non-profit relocation and referral network that we run called Hero Benefits Network. So asking ChatGPT how many law enforcement agencies are located in your county would be a great way for you to kind of start to understand what it is we do here at Hero Benefits Network. Another way that you could do it is ask ChatGPT or Google, are there any federal law enforcement agencies in your county? And then last but not least, how many police officers in total are there in your county? So we think those are three great ways to kill some time before we get started. But now that we're already started, let's, beep. Let's go ahead. I was trying to change my screen. Deb, thank you. I'll remember the beep. Thank you again to Devin, our membership director, who's here today with us to answer any questions. We're available by 1-800 number. We're available by cell phone, text. You can even just go on our website and ask a question if you want to remain anonymous. But I want to thank that beautiful lady in the middle of the screen, my wife, Carrie. This month represents 1 year. 1 year since we started Hero Benefits Now. And I'll give you a little secret glimpse into that beautiful lady's life. 1 year ago, I quit my job at Annie Mac Home Mortgage. 1 year ago, I quit drinking alcohol. And 1 year ago, I went vegan. So you want to create some turmoil in your life? Go ahead and quit your job, quit drinking, and quit eating meat of any kind, plant-based diet for over a year, lost about 70 pounds. And I started a nonprofit with her. So it's been a hell of a year. So thank you one more time to Carrie and Devin for all their hard work. Randy Nemiroff also, great big thank you for his patience in building this platform out. We had one perspective on the human resources and relocation industry. You know, we had a perspective that we brought to Hero Benefits Network about relocation and referral. We brought our own perspective regarding Hero, employment directors or human resources directors. You know, these folks that hire and fire essential workers nationwide. And what Randy brought to us was a whole new perspective on how we could benefit heroes and essential workers with an even broader array of benefits. So go ahead with the next screen. So essentially, these will go pretty quick. This is not a certification. Go ahead and hit the button. This is not a certification. We reserve our certifications Wednesdays at noon right now. They may change the dates and times down the road. This is also not an orientation. Orientations are done by Devin directly into the portal to look around and dig around and learn how to do stuff. But what today is not an orientation or a certification at all. So if this is your first time with us, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed maybe because you haven't yet been through the certification or orientation. Let me hit that next disclaimer, Deb. You know, it's important for me to get it out right away because this may be your first key to coaching environment with Hero Benefits Network. And suffice to say, even though I'm the executive director of the Hero Benefits Network, you know, my views and my opinions don't necessarily express the opinions of our sponsors, right? So your employer may have different concerns. Your bank, your mortgage banker, you know, may not agree with our philosophies here. And we want to let you know that, we're an autonomous operating system. We run a for-profit real estate brokerage called Essential Employee Relocation Company. Essential Employee Relocation Company, the EERC, processes all the transactions. And we run a nonprofit called the Hero Benefits Network. Go ahead and hit this next slide. So why you're here, I hope, is because we've been successfully giving away down payment assistance and relocation grants for almost 40 years. But during the last year, after my epiphany last year, quit job, quit alcohol, quit meat, and just completely changed everything about what we were doing. And when we did that, we said, hell, we've been so successful with down payment assistance and relocation grants in Southeast Florida for 35 years. Perhaps there might be some additional people who would want to join our nonprofit to serve teachers, to serve coaches, to serve law enforcement officers, hospital employees, essential workers. So when you think about essential employees, you think about nurses, doctors, surgeons. You also think about veterans, and you think about the active military community. Let's hit the next one and jump right into the nuts and bolts of what we're doing one more time. So we just finished up kind of welcome and background on what we do. We're going to jump into some measurable metrics for mortgage bankers. This whole system revolves around 25 bips. That's what you're going to have to spend if you want to work with us. You've got to agree to a 25 basis points credit, lending credit to the essential employees. And we're going to show you how that mixes with us. We also add your 25 basis points to the title company's rebate and the realtor's rebate. And those cumulate all three together equal a really, really exciting and impressive amount of money for the essential employee that's involved in the relo. So at 10:20 or so, we're going to get into why we think realtor engagement is the center point of our mortgage initiative. We are absolutely committed to automating the realtor referred purchase business between you, our Hero Benefits Network mortgage bankers, and our Hero Benefits Network realtors. So we're going to show you a sustainable realtor relationship. I'm also going to spend just a little bit of time at the end to kind of wet your whistle on Leo the Lion of HBN. That is the law enforcement opportunity inside of Hero Benefits Network. You'll notice that there's about 9 different categories of essential employees that benefit from these DPA and relocation grants. And you can join us, start for just $100, which includes a one-time exclusive zip code. So you would basically own that zip code just by committing and pledging $100 a month towards the Hero Benefits Network, which also helps us sustain the organization and the education that we provide to realtors. So last but not least on this page before we jump, our goal here in your county is to start to enroll the realtors in a certification using live lunch and learns. And a lot of times we'll use the Board of Realty. Boards of Realty are really friendly to us because we're a nonprofit. So we're able to win them over much, much faster than, Movement Mortgage, or if you walk into the Board of Realty as, cross country, you may be received one way, but if you walk in as a Hero Benefits Network nonprofit essential employee relocation company, you might be received a different way. Next slide. So, this is kind of the nutshell and the last summary of what we do. And now I'm going to spend some time showing you how we do it and what we can do together. And there's a real call to action in here for you as a mortgage banker to decide. But we find top realtors and mortgage vendors to serve America's most respected public servants. When you think about a surgeon, when you think about a police officer, when you think about a firefighter, you might think of an essential employee. No matter what happens with COVID, no matter what happens with the weather, no matter what happens with flooding or hurricanes or earthquakes, they have to go to work because they're essential. Our job is to help you, these essential workers. Our job is to help these essential workers discover these grants, incentives, and rebates and savings and support towards homeownership in their new communities. We, as a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization, curate down payment assistance and relocation grants, but we also promote other people's down payment assistance and relocation grants. So the government sometimes will do things, the employers themselves will do things, local credit unions may have benefits for them, insurance providers, and we sort of make our living curating and organizing all of the benefits that could be available towards homeownership for essential employees. Next slide. Let's go ahead on down this one pretty quick. Go ahead and give me the whole thing so they can follow along. Your realtor partners agree to a 30% referral fee. That is the referral fee that your realtors will agree to pay to the HBN if they have no monthly fees, no transaction fees. It's just a 30% referral fee that they have to agree to pay to Hero Benefits Network. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Exclusive realtors who buy a zip code, zip codes are $100. Exclusive realtors who decide to buy a zip code just pay a 25% referral. For the realtors who don't want to pay any fees, don't want to pay any monthly fees or transaction fees, they have to agree to a 30% referral fee paid to HBN on all of the essential employee relocation work that they do. They also have to, they get to decide specifically whether they'd like to invest $100 a month in their own exclusive zip code. And what we've been finding is that the target projection is about 4 transactions per quarter that come from the Hero Benefits Network, the arena of law enforcement, firefighters, teachers, nurses, police officers. You get the idea. In the softer beige sentence there, third down on the blue box on the right, mortgage brokers or mortgage bankers do pay a monthly fee to own an exclusive territory. And I can keep it really simple. There's a few what do you call them? Exceptions to this rule, but the rule of thumb is $100 a zip code, $500 a county, and $3,000 a state. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to fund the promotional activity and the realtor referral network through these minimal donations by our mortgage bankers. So considering today, going to a countywide or zip code exclusive, and we're going to show you more and more about how that works today. And when we talk about coaching, let's go ahead to the next slide, Deb. So sorry, I don't know why my screen save doesn't work. But in red, white, and blue on this screen, I think this really speaks to why this is working so well after just 1 year and why the nonprofit is exploding after just 1 year, even though for 40 years we've been doing this, same system. It's new to many realtors. Well, the HBN formula is accepted by realtors industry wide. I do not believe that this is a market, a market anomaly. Like, when you think about these cash buying programs, or you think about these incentives that are laden based on interest rates, like buy downs and things like that, or even variable rate mortgages. I mean, they're market relevant products. Okay, those are market relevant products. When the market changes, the products become less and less interesting. But this product is sustainable in incredibly good markets when low interest rates are zipping the whole market like we had a couple years ago, and it's especially relevant today. So this is more of an industry-wide, not a market-wide relevance. And I'm going to show you in blue ink. Many real estate agents today are happy to work on a 50-50 split with their team leader. You probably know them. You know the team leaders, Mark Spain, Lori Finkelstein-Reeder, you've got Lori Ballin, you've got Rob D, you've got these incredible team leaders, and their agents are all on 50-50 splits. So they just kind of happy to do that. In the 90s, the average split was about 60%. where 40% of the commissions went to the broker. By the 2000s, I hired 1,400 agents at an average of 70-30 split. That was our average split. That, and I think it matched kind of what the market was doing in the early parts of 2000. But 2020, the average among productive agents is closer to 85%. 85% of the commission is going to the agent, not the broker. And in red ink, for if you're a broker owner, who's kind of weathering the storm, it's not unusual at all for large real estate brands to offer 100% of the commission to the agent and maybe a smaller fee or a smaller split to the brokerage. The reason I bring that up is when you hear a 25 or 30% referral fee, you think, wow, that's $3,000 or that's $2,000 or that's $1,500 or whatever that figure is that realtor is giving up. But the reason that it's such an industry-wide phenomenon and why realtors are so eager, think about this. Opt City went from a standard 25 to a 30 to a 40%. Realtor.com, again, their elite agents moved into 30 and 35 and 40% referral fees. Berkshire Hathaway, their national referral network is in the 35 to 40% range, especially on listings because they refer a lot of listings. So I know top agents that make $500, $700, $1 million a year that would drop everything in their business to get a listing referral for a 35, 40% referral fee. So as a mortgage banker, don't fear their anxiety. They're not anxious about this. They want to do this. Their splits have gone up and up and up decade after decade. And they're gladly willing to give 25 to 30% for closed transaction business. So if you want to test this theory and you're a mortgage banker, ask your best friend that happens to be a realtor. And if you don't have a friend that's a realtor, I don't know how you make it in this business, really. But if you are friendly with a realtor, just ask them, hey, would you pay 25 to 30% referral fees within the Hero Benefits Network? And I'll bet you they'll say yes every single time. The funny thing on that last point is we don't keep that money. When Berkshire Hathaway collects 35% of gross on a referral, they pocket that as profit to the Warren Buffett brand, right? Berkshire Hathaway keeps that 35%. When Kai's down in Fort Lauderdale or Caldwell Banker sends a referral to some of my Caldwell friends over there, Caldwell Banker keeps the 25 to 30% referral fee. The unique thing about us is we give it to the employee. We take that referral fee, we take your 25 bips, and we take the title company and we combine it to equal a down payment assistance or relocation grant. Next slide, Deb. So what it looks like in the real world, back up one just to take that little blue thing off there and show these 300,000 purchase for DPA is $3,450. Just cleared 400,000 median purchase price in America. That is the first time in the history of the United States economy that the national median is over 400,000. Okay, that's an eye opener, a jaw dropper for a teacher. That's a freak show for a cop. Okay, if the median is 400 grand in America, it's challenging. Okay, but even a median home pays 4,600 in down payment assistance. And then as you go down the page, you see relocation grants, listings for your agents. Imagine you had a pool of agents that you were working with in Gloucester County or in your county, and you're helping those listing agents get more inventory. If there's nothing more important than listing inventory in 2025, or if there is something more important than listing inventory in 2025, I would like to know about it, because interest rates dropping will not help. It's more listings that will help. So remember what makes this so unique, and thank you, Devin, for doing that. The star is your contribution. And of course we can get the 25% from the realtor, but then we add 25 bips from you. That's 25 bips from you and 25% from the realtor. What an exciting revenue chain it is for these employee relocation packages. This is what we're here all about. Go ahead to the next slide. This is probably what's driving my career today. More than any other thing that I do, it's understanding the domestic migration map. Understanding that the red ink is where people are moving from, and the blue ink is where people are moving to. This is a phenomenon since COVID and into the lower interest rate run, with inflation going out of control and the homeownership affordability crisis striking the hearts of our teachers, our firefighters, our paramedics, our cops. This is a terrible, terrible conundrum for the employers. And almost every law enforcement department in the country is down in the number of law enforcement agents, sworn officers that work for them today. They're all in the middle of a crisis. You can't be a cop because you don't make enough money to live where you protect and serve. So we'll be talking a lot about this migration map as we get to know each other better and better. We'll do these very, very quickly, Devin. You can kind of just come on buzz until we get down to Leo. Homeownership for teachers and coaches. Great group of people. I just helped a teacher buy a house. Cops, firefighters, DEA, FBI, CIA. Man, oh man, it just goes on and on. And when you look at veterans and firefighters, you've got these channels of newsletters and channels of websites and social media contacts that we can work with them. So what we do with your realtors, and why your realtors become such loyal partners to you, is because you are the exclusive mortgage provider for the county, and they are the exclusive realtor for the zip code. So when they meet someone from the PBA or the FOP or the AFL-CIO or the teachers union, listen carefully, and I want anyone who's worried about compliance to hear this. The consumer requires the realtor to send you the pre-qual. Hear that. The consumer, the essential employee, tells their realtor that they want a Hero Benefits Network loan officer. That's it. That's the secret. The customer says it. So, when one MLO owns a county or one title company owns a state, they're not hoping to get the referrals. They're going to get the referrals because that's what the customer requests. And if the customer has 100% freedom of choice, the customer is going to say, hey, I want to stay in network with my mortgage. I want to stay in network with my title, and I want to stay in network with my realtor. So this provides, I hope you'll see, it provides the golden handcuffs or the golden guardrails to the residential real estate sales pipeline. You guys have all done sales funnel analysis, maybe with me in the past. And when you're analyzing a sales funnel, you're talking about drop-off rate from each level of the sales funnel, right? How many of the people that went from pre-qual to realtor referral stayed? How many people who went from realtor referral to mortgage credit pull stayed? How many people were referred to a title company and stayed with that title company? That's what we do well. We get the customer to want to do business with you. You can call this a gimmick. Some people do. You could say it's a trick. Some people say it's, all you're doing is giving a discount from the realtor, the mortgage banker, and the title company. Yeah, that's what we said. That's exactly what we said we were doing. But I call it karma. I think when you honor a profession with a huge down payment assistance check or a relocation grant, you are revered as a humble servant leader. So let's go into Leo now and beat the heck out of this monster here. Leo the Lion of the Hero Benefits Network. As a young man in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I was able to build a multi-million-dollar pipeline from law enforcement officers. And this is a life and death brotherhood. Stay on the screen for just a moment, if you will, and I'll explain why this is so important to you. As a realtor, I farm geographic farm areas, right? My wife, Carrie, who you met earlier, runs a Farming Fridays program for realtors all over the country. I think there's about 80,000 realtors that have been through that program. Well, Farming Fridays teaches how to farm a geographic area. What Leo the Lion teaches is how to farm a brotherhood of police officers that go to war every day. And the danger for these law enforcement officers is ever present. There's this stigma about being a law enforcement officer today, and there's this stress that they're under that results in more alcoholism, more drug abuse, more divorces, more suicides than in almost any other profession in the world. So there's this anxiety that permeates the law enforcement community. And just stay here for just 1 second with me, because this is probably the most important piece. Actually, go to the next slide if you would, because I think it's the pebble in the pond. And, their compensation remains so low that they're frustrated about the median housing prices, right? So there's this kind of perfect storm, but this is where I wanted you to see. When you farm a subdivision, and I love Carrie's Farming Friday stuff, and she's made a fortune doing it. I watched her teach realtors how to make, $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000 a year from their farm areas. But the truth is, when you represent a seller on 26th Avenue in Grand Isle, that seller doesn't intentionally endorse you to that family on 26th Avenue across the street or around the corner. What we find with the cops is they're intensely loyal. They're intensely interested in promoting you if you're good to police officers, right? So this is the pebble in the pond theory that doesn't exist in traditional real estate sales funnels, right? So when I buy a lead from Zillow, that little lead doesn't go around telling everybody at Zillow, hey, call this guy, call this guy. So what cops do different is they really do go to the donut shop. They really do talk. They really do share ideas, and they tell each other what each other's doing, because it's a true brotherhood. Next slide. You can bang all these out. So when you see these organizations, you see, like in Jacksonville, this guy, Mike Williams, announced his retirement like 4 months ago. He's going to be retiring soon. That's how we know that he has a high propensity for relocation. When he's taking his retirement early at a young age, or when one of these HR directors in the law enforcement field is working with a new hire or working with a retire, they are the ones that are promoting our system to their employees. Okay. I hope that does it justice, but drop all those little blue boxes on that screen, Dev. And again, I apologize to everybody. We're teaching your realtor professionals to do, and you don't have to do this. We're working with the realtors. You're just doing the mortgages. Okay. They're doing handwritten notes. They're doing sliding into their direct message boxes. They're doing emails. They're doing, FedEx packages that are going out to these HR directors. And I'm going to start to show you how the results manifest in one single municipality like Jacksonville. Keep on going, Deb. We're going to go to the next slide, really, because each of these remember in the beginning, I asked you if you would ask ChatGPT, how many law enforcement agencies are in your county, right? And you'll find that it is an incredible number of open, eager, and willing constituents, right? Like a geographic farm area, they're not willing. You're sending them recipe cards, you're sending them, free CMA, you're sending them all these, little real estate updates and everything, and they're not willing in all cases. I think the open rate of direct mail is like ridiculously low. So these farm areas don't thrive as much as your realtors would like them to do. But when you go into the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and they promote you to their officers, those officers are willing. And I want to say ready, willing, and able. They want to do business. They have better than average credit. They have considerable income. If they've been on the job for 2 years, they probably have a decent FHA level or USDA level purchasing power. And then if you match them up with a double income, their spouse's income, these are good customers. Next slide. We are going to be teaching your realtors, and again, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what we do with your realtors. We take your realtor over to the FOP, okay? And at the Fraternal Order of Police, there is a leader there. There's his phone number, there's his email address, there's his website, and we contact them for you and your realtor. The realtor goes out and gets us the contact information, sets an appointment, and we do the presentation to the fraternal order of police. This is so beautiful. If you think about just, let's go to Austin, Texas today in your mind. Your realtor goes into the FOP, goes into the PBA, goes into the sheriff's office, and drops off our flyers and our packages. Those officers come to that realtor and they request to be pre-qualified by you. The consumer does. That's essentially how this works. Go ahead to the next slide. Knock these out real quick. What we've found, and I want to applaud one more time. I know I'm sucking up to Carrie quite a bit today, but Carrie took the initiative to do some social media work within certain stations where she was congratulating people on their promotions, where she was getting out and interacting with these law enforcement officers through their own social media platforms. And what we found is, and Devin, you're right there with Carrie. If you had to pipe up, you can do it. You could say she got 7 leads in 1 week that I was aware of, that I knew that all she really did was post in the fraternal order of police. So let's take a look at the source of business chart that really jams for your realtors, and then we're going to end on a call to action. Essentially, we're taking the message. Oh, go back to that DEA. I want to tell you guys something real quick. DEA, one more back. There it is. I did 2 transfers for DEA officers in my life, 2. They both paid 7% commissions on my listing. That was required. And they collected a 30% referral fee from me, which went back to the relocation company. In our case, we can infiltrate the DEA. The consumer has 100% freedom of choice. The realtor gets a 7% commission, at least it was this way at the DEA. Then the the consumer requests pre-qual with you. So the DEA employee relocation program is just ridiculously lucrative. I mean, it's absolutely unfathomable to have this barb on the hook that we're not keeping the referral fee, we're giving it back to the essential employee, and that the employers get it, the employees get it, and the HR directors get it. So we hope you'll get it. Go ahead to the next one. A couple more. FBI in Jacksonville, immigration in Jacksonville. And we started looking at this. There were 19 leaders, 19 kingpins in the Jacksonville Police Department. There was multiple facilities and multiple leaders in the corrections field. The PBA just had one guy, one lady who handled the FOP, the CIA, the FBI. There was just one person in each one. So when your realtors get involved with the Hero Benefits Network, they're empowered by a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization to approach the Jacksonville Police Department with relocation grants and down payment assistance that are exclusive to the Hero Benefits Network, lucrative amounts of money for their cops, and they immediately, 99% of the time, they immediately start to promote it to their officers for you and I to benefit from the production and business. So go ahead, next slide. So this is a copy of a note that we write to the leader at the police station or at the FOP. And remember, we're only focusing on Leo. There's 9 other categories of employees. Imagine if you did this for surgeons at the hospital district. Imagine if you did just for nurses. And I want to tell you a quick nursing story. I just got floored. I'm going to do a partnership with this company. It's amazing. 937 nurses inquired about housing in Franklin, North Carolina this month. That's almost 1,000 inbound nurses to Franklin, North Carolina, which is a town of about 28,000 people, but 900 nursing inquiries. So what we're finding, and this is absolutely true, nurses are having to leave New Orleans and move to Franklin. They're having to move from Miami to move to Stewart. They have to. They cannot afford New Orleans anymore. So, of course, the New Orleans hospital district is dying for employees, getting them paid 70, 80, 90, 100 grand a year, and they still can't afford to live in New Orleans. But they can afford to live in North Carolina. That's why there was 1,000 inquiries to Franklin, North Carolina by nurses this month. So we're partnering with a company called Furnish Finders, and we list our properties on Furnish Finders so that we can get first substantive contact with these nurses. And it's amazing what's happening. But just look at this letter from a realtor, or you, if you wanted to do them, you could, and we'll support you too. But work with your realtors. It's much, much quicker. Cooking with gas, baby. You got 40 realtors in your county. You're killing it. But the letter's fairly benign, isn't it? It doesn't say Remax on it. It doesn't say, Annie Mac Home Mortgage on it. It doesn't say Rocket Mortgage on it. It just simply says the Hero Benefits Network is a nonprofit committed to law enforcement officers. We offer down payment assistance and relocation grants to all law enforcement. And I started using the word sworn officers and civilian employees because it does trigger the magnitude of the opportunity with our leaders, those HR directors. Our grants never have to be repaid. And the only qualification is sworn officer or civilian law enforcement employee. They can receive up to $5,000 down payment assistance, up to $10,000 relocation grants. And we've been helping law enforcement officers navigate the homeownership affordability crisis since 1986. That's the note. That's it. We send that out to the chief of police. We send that out to the HR directors at the DEA, and we get a massive amount of support and free advertising because we're a nonprofit. Did you know that your local radio station will give you nonprofit PR ads for free? All you have to do is reach out to them. Now, let's look at this source of business, and I want you to imagine you had about 15 realtors out there. Just 15 in your county. Within the law enforcement community, the whole group only got one listing, maybe one buyer, and one reload. And then at the PBA, the whole year went by and they only got one deal. And then in the fraternal police, they only got one or two deals. That's really how it works after 40 years. No one source of business inside of the Hero Benefits Network is extraordinary. Not one. But cumulatively, they equal something extraordinary. So go ahead to the next slide, Devin. It's my pleasure to say that I've been working with the Fraternal Police, the Police Benevolent Association, and local law enforcement officers for many, many years. To help a realtor do an extra $5 million a year is not difficult at all. And while $5 million doesn't set you apart as a mortgage banker, $5 million a year in production as a realtor is a nice upgrade to their professional career. And I'm going to stop on this slide for just a second and ask Devin to allow me to ramble for just a moment one more time.
Of course.
I want to do 5 times a week from now on. I want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because I think that the demand is there from our mortgage bankers and realtors. This is not a gimmick, okay? This is not some, hocus pocus, mechanism. This is true karma and reciprocity at its finest. And when you start with the heart of the crisis for teachers, when you start at the heart of the crisis for law enforcement officers, and you find that these law enforcement officers are willing and eager and deserving of our appreciation, you start to say, man, this is really a sustainable mechanism. So the call to action is simply this. You can join us for Key to Coaching every Monday morning at 10 a.m. if you're a mortgage banker. You can nominate a title company to be your exclusive title partner so that they're a network internal title partner. What they're going to do together, your mortgage bank and their title company are going to help promote this to the realtors. Realtors come in on Wednesdays to our workshops, our certifications, and our orientations. And your call to action as a mortgage banker for this first Key to Coaching relationship is to decide. When I quit my job a year ago, when I quit drinking, and when I quit, when I went to a total plant-based diet, I knew that I was going to suffer. I just knew it. Socially, I was going to suffer. My temperament had to adjust to this new lifestyle. I mean, I have 5 barbecue grills that I own in multiple houses. I mean, I definitely My last name is Fitzpatrick. So giving up alcohol and going plant-based and quitting my job was a big deal. And let me tell you the reason I did all of those things. I was so fucking bored with the mortgage industry. I couldn't move the needle for anyone. I was sitting on the sidelines in this huge industry watching you guys make millions and millions and millions of dollars with 3% interest rates. And I couldn't get anyone's attention because interest rates were so low. So they didn't want to do the work. I mean, that was it. Even the boss man said it's too hard. It's too difficult. They don't want to do all the work. And I said, well, shit, they're going to want to do the work next year. So that's when I quit and I went into the nonprofit and I said, you know what, if I can make a difference, and I don't mean a difference from an altruistic, just the nonprofit side. Yes, we can make a difference helping teachers, firefighters, law enforcement, and other essential employees buy houses, but I can make a difference in your production. I know for a fact, and I've done it my whole life, I've probably got 70 mortgage bankers that I've put over the 2 million a month range myself. And between Devin and Carrie and Kendall and Randy, I mean, we can add $1 million a month to your production in 90 days. I know that to be true. We're talking about a 3-month ramp. You're doing an extra 2 to 3, maybe even 4 deals a month. And with a median national price of 406 now, you only got to do 1 or maybe 2 or 3 deals a month to add $1 million a month. So if you want to take this ride with us, you're going to get my cell phone, Carrie's cell phone, a 1-800 number to dial in, text chat back and forth, email access, live interaction on the appointments themselves. And I can promise you this, mortgage bankers, if you want to add $1 million a month by April or May of 2025, if you want to add $1 million a month by 90 days from now, start with a zip code. Let's add $1 million a month in one little zip code for $100 a month. And by next quarter, you'll be wanting to expand to a county. That's a sure thing. You'll be expanding to a $500 a month county within a few months. And then eventually, like our friends at I don't want to mention the name of the bank. Our friends up in Connecticut, they took the whole state. And when we get a statewide partner, the game changes for everybody. It's just so much more fluid to have one title and one mortgage in a state and then have about 50, 100 realtors running around that state. So the call to action is simple. Go to herobenefitsnetwork.org, buy a zip code. If you already own a zip code, go ahead to Google or ChatGPT and find out those law enforcement leaders that we just did in Jacksonville in your county. And then call us directly, please, 1-800-299-WORKS. 1-800-299-WORKS, or just go on Hero Benefits Network and send us a note. We will help you. We want to do the presentations with you. We want to bring the realtors in. And part of the 90-day ramp is simply to host a certification with us in the month, next month, so that we can bring realtors together, break bread. And I'll end on this sentence. It's been a formidable motto of mine. Realtor purchase follows realtor engagement. Realtor purchase referrals follow realtor engagement. So you're going to work with us to engage realtors in new and different ways, and we're going to help you add that $1 million a month in production within 90 days, $2 million a month within 6 to 12 months, $1 million a month within 90, $2 million a month within 6 to 12 months. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you, everybody. I will be sending a follow-up email after this, so feel free to connect with us. We'd love for you to join Hero Benefits Network. A friendly reminder, we will be hosting the Hero Benefits Network certification this Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you'll learn a little bit more about Hero Benefits Network, what our purpose is, and how you personally can empower our nation's heroes to home ownership. This is a free certification. You join us for about 30 minutes to an hour, and you walk away certified with a certificate and everything. So guys, thank you so much, and I will be in touch via email. Thank you.